Hello. Welcome to the channel. Today is June 17th. This episode is related to EHang. In this episode, we are going to share observations and opinions about the concern of EHang's cash burning out and the possible options for fundraising if unexpected things occur. In the recent Q1 2022 earnings call, EHang management is confident about the company's outlook. But some people and financial media may have different opinions about the EHang's finance situation. They may think EHang will run out of cash before it starts to generate serious revenue, and need to do some new fundraising at some point soon. In reality, nothing is 100% certain. Unexpected things may happen. It is good to be critical. The possibility and timing of EHang's cash burnout and new fundraising depend on the timing of the type certificate granting. Next, let's get the feel about the cash burn and quarterly balances for the coming quarters this year. Estimation of quarterly cash balances in 2022. Assume quarterly loss is the same as Q1 2022, and quarterly revenue is close to none, that is, assume no type certificate granting and significant revenue. Q1 2022. Net loss, 68.8 million yen. Cash balances, 236.9 million renminbi, as of March 31, 2022. This is from the Q1 2022 earnings report. Q2 2022. Cash balances, 168.1 million renminbi. Which is previous Q1 quarter balances of 236.9 million minus the quarterly net loss of 68.8 million. If no type certificate granting in the Q2 quarter, the cash balances is this value at the end of the Q2 quarter. Previously, the type certificate granting is expected to be in the Q2 quarter. But the CAAC certification process has been slowed down due to the recent COVID lockdown. It is a good surprise if the type certificate granting occurs in the Q2 quarter. But the probability may not be high. Q3 2022. Most likely, the type certificate granting is expected in the Q3 quarter. If this is the case, we may not worry about the cash burn and fundraising. If unexpected things happen and the type certificate cannot be granted in the quarter, the cash balances at the end of the quarter is 99.3 million renminbi, and at this point or earlier, EHang may need to plan ahead for the fundraising as the fundraising process may take some time. Q4 2022. If the type certificate cannot be granted in the Q4 quarter and there is no significant revenue, the cash balances is 30.5 million renminbi at the end of the quarter. At this point or earlier, the chance for EHang to plan and raise fund is very high. This may be the worst case scenario. But it is not the end of the world for EHang or EHang investors. There may be some fundraising options for EHang without share dilution. Next, let's see possible fundraising options for EHang. Possible fundraising options for EHang. Obtaining bank credit line. This may be the first or preferred option for EHang. We will discuss it later. Share offering. This is the most common option for many companies, but may not be a good option for EHang currently. We will elaborate a bit later. Besides these two options, there may be other options for EHang. Others. There may be many ways for the governments to provide financial support to EHang. Take NIO EV carmaker as example. NIO raised fund by setting up a joint venture with the local Hefei city government who invested in and got shares of the joint venture. Later, NIO may return the money to the government by buying back the corresponding joint venture shares from the government. EHang may do the same. But this may not be the best option for EHang. EHang's electric aviation sector is strategically important to the nation. If needed, the governments would find and provide fund support to EHang in one way or another. Next, let's discuss the stock offering for EHang. To get a feel about this fundraising option for EHang, we may check the last EHang stock offering. Last EHang stock offering. Shares offered to Carmignac. Share type, Class A ordinary shares. Transaction closed, January 29, 2021. Amount raised, $40 million, which is about 250 million yuan. This may be the same amount EHang would raise if the cash burns out. Offering price, about $60 per share. In general, stock offering is good for a growing company to raise fund if the share price is decently high. For example, Tesla has raised many rounds of funds through stock offering, and grown the company in valuation tremendously. This stock offering is also considered to be good for EHang in terms of the share price. We may judge by examining EHang's 2-year stock chart. Here is the 2-year stock chart for EHang. Near the end of last year 2021, from November, the stock started to rise sharply. On January 29th here, the share price reached about $60 and the offering transaction was closed on this date. Therefore, the offering price to Carmignac was about $60 per share. Compared with the price before the sharp increase, this was considered a rather good price for EHang's stock offering. At this point, no one would know the stock price later shoot up to $129 sharply. The stock price now was very low here at about 10. EHang may do everything to avoid offering shares at this price range. To be responsible and avoid upsetting Carmignac, who paid the high price of about $60 per share, EH may not do stock offering until the stock price returns back to $60 or higher. By the way, Carmignac is EHang's largest institution shareholder with 7.3% share as of March 30, 2022. Next, about the best or proper option, obtaining credit line from bank. Due to the current low stock price, EHang needs to take this option to avoid significant share dilution if the cash burnout happens. Xpeng EV carmaker raised fund by this option. Recently, Xpeng and Agricultural Bank of China Guangdong branch held a strategic cooperation signing ceremony in Guangzhou and obtained 7.5 billion yuan credit line. In this photo, He Xiaopeng, chairman and CEO of Xiaopeng Motors, and Zhu Jinggang, president of Agricultural Bank of China Guangdong branch, attended the witness together. The bank is state-owned. From the high-profile ceremony event, you may sense the bank or state support to a leading high-tech green enterprise. Xpeng obtaining bank credit line. Bank, Agricultural Bank of China. Strategic cooperation signing date, April 27, 2022. Amount, 7.5 billion yuan, that is, 7,500 million yuan. EHang would not need to raise this big amount, only about 1/30th of this amount or about 250 million yuan. Credit line purpose, supporting the operation and development of Xpeng. This way, Xpeng raised a lot of fund without share dilution. EHang may do the same if needed. Next, let's see the similarities between EHang and Xpeng. Similarities of between EHang and Xpeng. Both headquarters in Guangzhou. Both in high-tech green electric transportation megatrends. Both strong in artificial intelligence for autonomous driving or autonomous flying. Both businesses in line with national strategies and strongly promoted by state and local governments. Both favored by tax policies with tax reduction/refund. Implication. Like Xpeng, who has been able to obtain the bank credit line, EHang is expected to be able to do the same if needed. In summary, EHang's cash balance is tight. According to EHang management projection, if the type certificate is granted in time, EHang may not need new fundraising at current low stock price level. But, if unexpected things happen and the type certificate granting is delayed substantially, EHang may choose to do fundraising by obtaining bank credit line without share dilution. Disclaimer. This channel is not a financial advisor. You must perform your own due diligence and make your own decisions. Investing involves risks, you can lose all or part of your investment. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.